So good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the November 14th, 2023 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. This time I'd like to ask Reverend Kakuza from the Crossroad Church in St. Leonard if he would give us an invocation, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's going on 40 years this month.
Congratulations.
We put our penny in the ground, and you mentioned the Christmas display. It'll be up and running full force this year on the corner.
Excellent.
Good.
So we came and I knew and worked with many on the walls here, all but 2 pictures. And they were beautiful people, wonderful people, and God's given us a good county. So I just wanted to mention it's good to be here this morning.
Thank you.
Proverbs 14 says, kindness and truth is to those who devise good. Shall we pray? Lord, for many years you've made our county here unique, safe, secure, and peaceful. Just merely being asked to pray this morning gives us a glimmer of hope that if we honestly seek your guidance today in our affairs for the people we represent, you will give it. Sharpen our minds and bring our wisdom to the forefront to all the decisions made. Give us the ability to communicate and carry out all those decisions made and have a sense of progress in this area. Protect us, Lord. Give us peace and rest this day to all in this room, regardless of our background or mentality. We thank you for it. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move that we approve and adopt the agenda, but defer the proclamation and wish the recipient a speedy recovery.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented with the removal of the proclamation. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So at this time, we're going to have a ceremony to swear in a new deputy. Oh, no, I have public service announcements. I'm sorry. I was looking at you, and I do have some public service announcements. And unfortunately, like we start a lot of meetings, it starts out with condolences. We have a county employee, Stanley Harris, who heads up our communications center and whose brother passed this past Sunday, 37 years old. So we want to pass our condolences out to the Harris family at their time of loss. Also, tomorrow on November 14th, there'll be a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission beginning at 7 p.m. at the Harriet Brown Community Center. The meeting is to receive public input on proposed text amendments to Article 30, 32, and 33 of the zoning ordinance. And on Thursday, November 16th, the Department of Planning and Zoning will hold a public forum at the Harriet Brown Community Center to present the proposed changes to Articles 26, 27, and 28 on the 2023-2024 draft of the zoning ordinance update. And residents may attend either in person or virtually through Zoom. You can visit Calvert County calendar of events at calvertcountymd.gov for the further information. As you all know, we've been working through our zoning update process for seems like forever. And this is just all part of the process, and we beg you to please participate in the process. It's the only way we're going to have an outcome that serves all our citizens' needs. Also want to remind everybody that the Department of Economic Development, working with the Calvert County Fair Board and the Calvert County Optimist Club, is bringing back the Christmas Parade. Those of you that have been around remember they used to do the Christmas Parade running through the Fox Run Shopping Center, and COVID, everything parade kind of got away from us. So we've reinvigorated the parade, and it's going to be on Saturday, December the 9th. If you want to participate in the parade, you have to sign up ahead of time. You can go to optimistclubofcalvert.org and register by November the 30th, or On Saturday, December the 2nd, you can go to the fairground office in person and sign up there on Route 231. We really looking forward to having a great parade. We're going to run it through Prince Frederick, going to coordinate. As you all know, we've been having a Christmas event at the Little King Park there on Church Street. And so we've coordinated. The parade's going to be that same day. We're going to have a lot of activities, and we're looking forward to a great parade. And then we want to encourage any organizations out there to come and please participate in the parade.
That night is the Solomon's Christmas Walk and the boat parade as well.
Yeah, it's a busy day that night in Solomon's. As Commissioner Allen said, it's going to be the Christmas Walk and the Christmas Boat Parade. So you can spend your entire day in Calvert County celebrating the upcoming Christmas season. We also want to announce that the North Beach Senior Center is expected to reopen this coming Monday, November the 20th. Residents are planning to eat lunch at the center on Monday. Should call the Calvert Pines Senior Center at 410-535-4606 by noon on Friday to reserve your meal. Don't forget to sign in. We don't want to miss a meal.
I think
And,
we're going to Belfast.
And next week is Thanksgiving. We want to wish everybody, hope they have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, and take a moment to be thankful for everything that we have. We're very blessed in this country and in this county, and need to take a moment and just be thankful for what we have. And that concludes my public service announcements. Now, Sheriff, we can swear in your deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I would just like to say thank you for allowing us to do this again and honoring our new deputies, and Ms. Kathy Smith for swearing in our new deputy. Thank you always. Mr. Tunnell, he hails from Rochester, New York. He went to internship there in Connecticut, and then he was a deputy in Jacksonville, Florida. Brings a lot of experience to our office, has his master's degree, and a lot of intelligence that bring into our office too as well. And it's my goal to bring the finest deputies for the citizens of Calvert County in our sheriff's office, and I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Morning, May.
Stay right there. Raise your right hand.
You raise your right, is this on? Yep. Raise your right hand and you're going to repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Ian Tennell,
do promise or declare
do promise and declare
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of Deputy Sheriff for Calvert County,
execute the office of Deputy Sheriff of Calvert County
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of the state,
and that I will not,
and that I will not,
for lucre or malice,
for lucre or malice,
delay any person
delay any person
applying to me
applying to me
for any business
for any business
belonging to the office
belonging to the office
that I officiate in,
that I officiate,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
ask, take, exact,
ask, take, exact,
demand, or receive from,
demand, or receive from,
or charge to
or charge to
any such person
any such person
for my own use
for my own use,
any fee or reward
any fee or reward
whatsoever for any services
whatsoever for any services
that I may do
that I may do
as deputy of said office,
as deputy of said office,
and that in making out the office fees,
and that in making out the office fees,
I will not wittingly or willingly
I will not wittingly or willingly
charge other or higher fees
charge other or higher fees
than are allowed by law.
that are allowed by law.
Congratulations.
That was good doing a solo. You got it memorized, right?
It's a lot.
Miss Jamie, would you come forward, please, for the pinning?
Here's your chance to blink. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We played much without him, too. Five of the last 6 times. We can see you. We hope it's y'all. We can see you. No, that's not new.
See ya.
So that brings us to our meeting with Department of Planning and Zoning and the Maryland Department of Transportation. Mr. Secretary, welcome to Calvert County. Is this your first trip down?
For this event, yes, sir.
Good. How were the roads when you came there?
You were pretty good, thank you, sir. Kim does a fantastic job. She does.
She does.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right,
Go
good.
ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Paul Wiedefeld, Secretary of Transportation, just for the record. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to visit with you today, talk about the upcoming capital program for the department. With me today is the State Highway Administrator, Will Pines, and the District Engineer, Kim Tran, who you know, and she'll be available for questions as well. From the Maryland Transportation Authority, the Toll Authority, from our Planning Program and Development Director, Melissa Williams, is here. From the Maryland Transit Administration is the Travis Johnson, who's the local transit support director. From the Motor Vehicle Administration, I believe is Christine Weiser, she's here. And then with the Maryland Aviation Administration, Regional Assistant Director Ashish Solanki. If you would like, I'd like just some brief overview, turn it to each administrator, then open up for questions and comments.
Whatever you want to do, sir.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I want to thank you. I met a number of you at the MECO conference. That's always, I think, a very good opportunity for us to talk about some of the issues. And since our meeting, State Highway has provided the county with inspection schedule for all of our structures throughout Calvert County, that was one of the requests. Specifically, the next bridge inspection for the Thomas Johnson Bridge is planned for the nights of November 12th through the 18th, so basically this week. The Maryland Department of Transportation is committed to work in partnership and transparency. That is my goal, and we'll continue to do that. We have a lot on our plate. We've made a lot of progress, but a lot of things in front of us to do as well. I thought I'd give you just a high overview of our priorities as an operating agency, and the number one priority is safety. Safety of our employees, safety of our customers, safety of our contractors, whether they're using our facilities or using some of our services. To that end, we are committed to Vision Zero, which is to eliminate fatalities on the highway network by 2030. To that end, I've asked the entire staff to review, meaning all the modes, to review their policies, their regulations, their designs, to make sure we're doing everything on our part to make it as safe as possible. And also, I've directed a review of the Complete Streets program, which is a policy we have to protect bicyclists and pedestrians. And that's really important because 2/3 of fatalities last year were bicyclists and pedestrians, the most vulnerable users of our system. So that hasn't been done in over 10 years, so I'm looking forward to getting that and starting to implement some of those changes. Our second priority is clearly to preserve the multi-billion-dollar investment that the citizens of Maryland have made in the system, in all modes of transportation that we provide, and to make sure we don't slip backwards, because as we all know, they will come home to roost, and they'll cost more the more we delay things that need to be done. Then finally, our next priority is with dollars available then after that is to enhance the system, expand the system to support economic development and community needs, and that's how we manage the dollars in general. One other issue that has obviously become much more at the forefront for all of us is dealing with climate change, and particularly building resiliency in the system to deal with some of the storms and issues that we have, and that's particularly important in the vulnerable coastal communities that we have in the state of Maryland. As obviously to create such a large system, manage such a large system, you need the dollars to do it, and there's a lot of pressures there, as you can imagine. The trust fund is funded through a number of sources, and we're under quite a bit of pressure. Like the county, I'm sure the cost of inflation, the inability to find labor and materials have all driven our cost up. We're all experiencing that. We have one unique source of funds that's drying up, though. That was COVID relief funds. The state of Maryland roughly got $3 billion to support transit systems throughout the state of Maryland, and that disappears this fiscal year. So that is a very large hole in the program. In addition, the trust fund is one of its major source, or its major source is the motor fuel tax. And as cars become more fuel efficient, which is fantastic for the customers, but from a financial model, actually causes quite a bit of stress on the trust fund. In addition, as we electrify the fleet, meaning, as the world is moving in that direction, that also drives down that source of revenue for the department. In addition, our second largest source of funds is a titling tax, and cars are being made much better and last longer. Again, that's very good for the consumers, but again, from a financial model, that hurts us as well. So with those pressures, basically, we're going to have to make sure we spend every dollar wisely. We're very fortunate with some of the IIJ money, the federal money that's come in. We'll continue to match that. It comes to us in two forms, basically formula dollars, which basically come to each state by formula, dependent upon your system. That's usually 80% federal, 20% local match. So we have those dollars to match that. The other big source of dollars is discretionary, where you compete nationally for projects. They generally land in the 50 to 50%, 50 federal, 50 local, but you have to compete. And so obviously the more money you come up with, the better position you are. So that's, again, a bit of a stretch for us to do that as we look to do that. So this is all sort of laid out in the capital program that I'm presenting today from 24 through 29. We've unfortunately had to produce a program that has a hole in it. The entire program is roughly $21 billion, just over $21 billion. We have a hole of over $2 billion in the program. It starts in 25 and grows in the out years. One way we could have dealt with that is I could have came in here and cut all the $2 billion worth of projects. We took a different approach. Again, I think in the spirit of partnership and transparency, I think this is a much broader discussion. So part of these tours is for me to understand, obviously, the priorities of the local governments, to make sure as we have to deal with this issue, we understand, the communities we're serving. And it's also tied to what the state legislature has done, which is they've set up a revenue and investment committee to look at this commission, to look at this very issue. It started with, obviously, the recognition of the pressures on the motor fuel tax, particularly with electrification of the fleet, but these other drivers are pushing these numbers as well. So that commission started meeting in August. It has a draft report to the legislature and the governor in January 24, and a final in the next year. They're looking at, as obviously, the revenue side of it, and also the electrification fleet, and what we can do about that, if anything. So that's sort of big picture where we are. Not the best of news, but again, I'm sure you're under some of the same pressures at the local level as well. So with that, I will turn it over to their highway administrator to give a view of both the administration and some of the projects in Calvert County.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Paul. And as was mentioned, I'm Will Pines, and I'm glad to be here with you this year, this time leading the State Highway Administration. I'm just a few months into leading in this role, but I'm really excited about SHA's future. Under my leadership, SHA will continue to advance infrastructure projects that will connect Marylanders to jobs and economic opportunities. Building and maintaining a multimodal transportation system for all users that's safe, equitable, and balanced, that's our goal. That means we're going to reimagine how the highway network supports the needs of our communities. We'll be putting greater focus on safety statewide, because we believe that one lost life is one too many. So we're going to be honing in on asset, work zone, and vulnerable user safety. This spring, SHA released Maryland's first pedestrian safety action plan, or what we refer to as the PSAP plan. This is a new data-driven tool to enhance pedestrian and bicycle safety for communities across the state. We're also making significant investments to deliver PSAP projects, working with a new active transportation team within SHA and also with our local district offices. We're also taking a fresh look at organizational efficiency. I've asked the SHA team to focus on project delivery, permit approvals, and procurement timelines to look at opportunities to streamline the process while maintaining ethics and doing good business. This will focus both on delivering SHA projects faster and conducting timely reviews and support for county and developer projects and their permits. We realize that there are challenges ahead, but that doesn't mean that our goals have changed. We'll continue to improve safety, accessibility, mobility, and state of good repair. We have to be poised to leverage every available federal dollar to deliver as much as we can, and this includes pursuing multiple grant opportunities statewide. We'll also continue to work with you to deliver local projects. Partnership with local governments and the community is the key to our mutual successes. I'd now like to highlight a few of SHA's projects and accomplishments over this past year. Good news for Chesapeake Beach, the $2.4 million Maryland 261 Safety and Resurfacing Project between First Street and Chesapeake Village Boulevard will be fully completed by the end of this year. Improvements include upgraded ADA compliant sidewalks, pavement reconstruction, and resurfacing. Thank you to the county and the residents for their patience and cooperation while the temporary closure was underway for this project. SHA has also completed the $2.6 million Maryland 4 intersection improvement project at Mount Harmony Road. The roadway opened to traffic in May with a new right turn lane from Mount Harmony Road onto Maryland 4, improving traffic operations and safety. We are currently working on design studies to determine how much clearance is necessary for the future replacement of the Thomas Johnson Memorial Bridge. SHA provided a $1 million match to the $1 million congressionally directed spending to advance the studies for that project. We recognize this has been a county priority for many years, and we look forward to continuing our partnership to address this critical asset. SHA is also advancing safety and mobility improvements at 3 intersections along Maryland 23, including Skipjack Road, Maryland 508, and from Toy Lane to Mason Road. The design phase for all locations is scheduled to be completed by the winter of 2025-26. And finally, I just want to take a moment to thank our district engineer, Kim Tran, for all the support that she and her team offer to the county for our projects and also constituent services. And so with that, I want to thank you for your time. I'll echo the happy early Thanksgivings, and I'd now like to turn it over to my colleague at the MBTA.
Excuse me, sir, did you want us to hold questions till the end?
If we
or-
could, just.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Melissa Williams. I'm the Director of Planning and Program Development at the Maryland Transportation Authority. Financed by toll revenue, the MDTA is the independent state agency that finances, owns, operates, preserves, and secures Maryland's 8 toll facilities. We're investing those toll dollars right back into our world-class infrastructure and for all Marylanders. The MDTA's commitment to maintaining Maryland's toll roads and bridges is paramount, as well as doing our part to watch over the thousands of people traveling those roads every day. I'd like to talk about a project that keeps the people of Calvert County connected. For many here today, you've crossed the Nice Middleton Bridge. As you know, the new Nice Middleton Bridge opened last year, and the demolition of the old bridge's remaining substructure is ongoing and will continue into 2024. Materials from the older span are being used to create artificial reef sites, which provide aquatic shelter and habitat for a variety of marine life. The $463 million project included campus improvements to support the new bridge. The new campus administration building with EasyPass customer service is in the final phases of construction, and it is anticipated to be completed this winter. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you today. I'd like to turn it over to Travis Johnson at the MTA.
Thank you, Melissa. Good morning, everyone. I'm Travis Johnston, Local Transit Support Director at the Maryland Transit Administration. I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about what MTA is doing to support frequent, reliable, and easy-to-use transit throughout Maryland. As you know, public transit is essential to ensuring economic and social mobility, addressing the climate crisis and needed reductions in carbon emissions, as well as reducing congestion and promoting safer and healthier streets for the entire region. Maryland's investments in new transit infrastructure and maintaining our systems in a state of good repair will make a difference in people's lives throughout the state. Here in Southern Maryland, we continue to support all of our locally operated transit systems who are critical partners in providing transit throughout the state. MTA makes a significant investment in transit in Calvert County by providing nearly $1 million in operating and capital grants to support local transit operations. Of the $1 million, nearly $550,000 is for the operating budget, and nearly $450,000 is for the capital budget, which includes funding for 2 new small buses, the rideshare program, and funds for development of a fuel depot and new transfer station. Recently, the agency has undertaken a comprehensive review of the LOT's operating funding allocation formula. I'm pleased to report that beginning next July, funding will be adjusted so that allocation distributions are more equitable and responsive to changes in local jurisdictions' investment in transit service. With that, I thank you for your time. I will now turn it over to Administrator Nizer with MVA.
Thank you, Travis, and it's great to be with you again this morning. At MBA, customer service has always been the cornerstone of everything we do, but we've had some recent information technology enhancements that really have allowed us to take that to the next level. Gone are those days where you might need to bring a book or your lunch with you for your visit at the MBA. In fact, last year the average wait time at Prince Frederick was 5 minutes. But we're already looking at the next generation and what additional services we need to provide. We know there's a great need for access to online services, so we continue to expand that with our My MBA account. We encourage all customers to get access to that because now, in addition to transactions, which you've traditionally done online, now you can also look up information related to your vehicle, your driver's license, anything related to your MBA business. Proud to say that 75% of our transactions were actually done outside a branch office over last year. In addition to that, we're obviously very focused on safety, as the Secretary mentioned. We are certainly committed to our goal of 0 fatalities, but unfortunately the numbers appear to be moving in the wrong direction. Last year, right here in the county, we lost 8 people, but unfortunately so far this year we've already lost 10. And so that is unfortunately paralleling what we're seeing across the state. We are closing in on 600 fatalities. It looks like we might end over that for this year on our roadways. We have not seen those numbers since 2007. Obviously, we're talking about numbers, but we all know those are people. And so we are doing a call to action, frankly, across the state. When we analyze the data, we're seeing the same causes of crash. It's speed, it's impairment, it's lack of seatbelt use, and then distraction. So they're not new things. They're things that each and every one of us can do something about every time we get behind the wheel. So we're really trying to impair all Maryland residents really to, engage in that safe behavior we know is important so we can change that. In September, Governor Moore announced $33,000 in highway safety grants, and that goes to your law enforcement agencies right here in the county, including the Sheriff's Office as well as Alliance Against Substance Abuse. Local jurisdictions are also encouraged to develop local strategic highway safety plans to complement the state plan and really to help you look at exactly what's going on in your jurisdiction. To assist you in that, there is a crash dashboard with data that's now updated real time to really help you look at the data, and we're certainly here as a resource for you. Happy to have the Highway Safety Office staff and myself personally engage with you as you work to help us reach that goal of 0 fatalities. It truly is that partnership and bringing everybody together that's going to make a difference. In closing, I just want to thank all of our great MVA employees. Some of those accomplishments I mentioned in the beginning would not have happened without their tremendous work. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to Ashish to talk about the great things that are happening at MAA.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Commissioners, great to be with you again this morning. Thank you for having
Welcome.
us.
With the Maryland Aviation Administration, as our previous modes have shared with you, safety remains priority number one. But I also wanted to share with you some of the important aspects of our aviation system and how we're also focused not just on safety, but on travel, tourism, and of course, economic development for our region and our state. Governor Moore has spoken about the great assets we have in our state, and certainly aviation and our airport systems is that critical asset for our system. BWI Marshall as well, it includes services for major transportation needs. I wanted to share with you a couple metrics that we have updated that demonstrates the importance of BWI Marshall to our state. We contribute $9 billion annually to the state's economy. That's including our airline partners, our service providers across the airport. Another metric that we're also following is post-pandemic, where 90% of our pre-pandemic numbers, passenger travel. That's a great number to see because that's the trend line is showing in the right direction. Equally is our airline partners. They recognize the demand has grown and they're starting to provide the seat capacity for the demand of our passengers. Example, we have a 17% greater seat capacity than we did last year. Pre-pandemic, we're at 3% greater than the pre-pandemic numbers. So the bottom line here is the trend is in the right direction. The demand is there and our capacity is growing. So we're positive and encouraged by those numbers. I wanted to shift a little bit and share with you our capital program. If you've flown out of BWI Marshall, we hope you had an opportunity of using our award-winning restrooms. These are something that we're very proud of because it is a focus upon.
Oh yeah, that was a long flight. I had to make sure I to handle things before you had that long.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Hart. We appreciate that, and certainly that's our focus because we want to deliver on products and amenities that our customers are asking for. The restrooms are certainly
very clean.
Appreciate that. We'll continue that work, and that's what we're focused on. We want to deliver those products. We want to deliver the programs that our customers want to utilize. Statewide, I'm pleased to report with the Secretary's support, we have $2.8 million going to our statewide airport community. This is supporting our safety priorities, runways, taxiways, and apron needs. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to update you on aviation programs. I'll turn it back over to Secretary Wiedefeldt.
Thank you, Ashish. There is one other mode that we actually manage, and that's the port, the Maryland Port Administration. And the Port of Baltimore is doing very well in terms of cargo, obviously. And one of the bigger ones was the cruise. The cruise business took a big hit, obviously, during the pandemic. That is back. Actually, we're doing much better than we were pre-pandemic. So that's another big thing we're doing. So we have a lot on our plate, but be glad to take any questions or comments you have. I will ask Will and Kim to come back up because I know a lot of these tend to be around the state highway.
Commissioner Hart has some questions.
So, and it's always the elephant in the room, but you guys know my district is Solomons and Lusby, right? It's a bridge. So you know before you get here, you know that's coming up, so it's no surprise. I love the book. And I want to show folks, if you have problems sleeping, you watch this show. But outside of that, and a few folks will look at publications and Facebook, but there's always this misconception, win the bridge. They're going to ask until Jesus comes back, when's the bridge? I always ask you folks to please say publicly, it's not coming. And the book's great because the book actually lists, guys, the projects. And it's not on these folks here, but the book is great because it takes all the misconception out because they go, well, what if this happens? What if that? It doesn't matter. And I'm looking for you to stop me if I'm wrong. If it's not here, it's not happening.
Until it falls down.
No, it means it isn't, funds aren't budgeted.
Correct. Right. And folks, I just want you to know at home, it's not the people in this room. It goes way up to make the decision when these projects are on there. It's laid out alphabetically. And I answer this question almost weekly at my work about that bridge. And then, a couple weeks ago, both bridges were actually closed down due to accidents. And I had the question. Somebody from one of the publications said, "Well, do you think this will be the difference?" No, there is absolutely nothing going to move that needle until the day they deem that it ranks on the priority. And last year, this book was here. And they're not trying to hide anything. It's very transparent, as the presentation said. But I want folks to know at home, I appreciate the enthusiasm and the participation from the public, but there's absolutely nothing this board or the local delegation or senates can do, to my knowledge, until funds be made available and this moves up on a priority. And the question everybody always asks is, what does it take to get it here? My personal opinion is, we don't have the numbers to get it here. No matter how many times people go across that, it becomes a thing of politics. Let's be honest, we have 90,000 folks here. How many people are in the state?
3 billion.
How many?
Over 3 million.
Yeah.
It's over 3 million folks. 90,000 here to 3 million. I'm just, look, if it was up to me and could wave that magic wand, that bridge would be there right now. We always ask for it, but we get one opportunity with you, and that's to hear out of your mouth that, that bridge is not coming.
But I think the work that we are doing, though, it takes, as you can imagine, a lot of work before you would do a major bridge like that. So the work that we are doing now is to even determine what level that bridge would be, obviously with the elimination of the work, that the bridge does not need to be that high any longer. So you do need to do that type of groundwork, as, that bridge, like all of our bridges, at some time will be need replaced. So I understand that we definitely don't have the dollars for it right now, for sure, but we'll continue to monitor its condition. And as Administrator Pine said, we have an effort underway now to determine really the height of a future bridge there right now.
And I think when they see you do things like that, they go, oh, the excitement,
sure.
the bridge is coming. And I
Right.
just want to
Sure.
just give folks just the hard reality that you don't see it in the very near future.
Well, let me say, first of all, it's important to say that the bridge is not currently rated in poor condition. We mentioned that we do the inspections, the one the Secretary noted was happening this week. We do routinely check the condition of the bridge, and I say it all the time to the public. My background, I'm a recovering engineer at this point. I was a bridge engineer in my early career, and I say it all the time. If we knew that the bridge was not safe, it wouldn't be open. And so the idea that the bridge is getting ready to fall down, that didn't come from us, and that's not rooted in the reality of the current conditions of the bridge.
So
You want me to stop? You got a question on that point?
Well, if I don't, Commissioner Hart's not going to let me talk.
So just the second piece is, if you look at another large bridge structure in southern Maryland, Nice Middleton Bridge, that got a little bit done towards planning, funding for that, similar to Thomas Johnson. The funding was put forward for the planning study was completed, you get a NEPA record of decision. Then funding got brought forward for preliminary engineering activities like geotechnical investigations, like navigation clearance studies. Those things help to de-risk a project, to help you know what the scope is. And so, yes, a large program like this, it takes a lot of funding to do everything, but there is a methodical process to get there, and we're on that process. The funding that's there now to look at the clearance study, that has to be done. You have to get a permit from the Coast Guard to do these kinds of projects. So we're advancing steps methodically with funding. It's not an all-in-one shot kind of thing.
So do you know offhand what that bridge, traffic flow, that bridge was designed for?
So traffic and bridge condition are two things,
I know
right?
that. I'm asking about flow.
Yes, I don't have I can follow back up with you on that, like what current traffic conditions are on the structure. Certainly, we understand that during peak hours, there is congestion at certain periods of the day, and at certain times of the year. We get that, and no one's diminishing the traffic side of it. That's a statewide challenge in a lot of different places. Just kind of highlighting that a lot of times, bridge replacements, large bridge replacements, really kind of come together when you have both the condition driving the need and the traffic driving the need. So that's what we're monitoring, the condition, knowing that there are the existing traffic issues at the structure.
So when you do your studies and evaluate the structures, you do underwater evaluations, I'm sure.
We do.
So the stories we hear from divers are not true about the crumbling foundation under the water.
As I said before, the bridge is not rated poor. That's not to say that we don't ever have to make repairs to concrete spalls, things that are found on aging infrastructure. That's an issue with every bridge as part of the maintenance program for them. But the bridge, the crumbling of the bridge, that's not happening. We do have to maintain it like we do any structure.
Because we've been told that the traffic flow on that bridge is triple what it was designed for.
I would say at least. I mean, it's in
And
the 70s.
you do understand that that bridge is an evacuation route, and we have a nuclear power plant, a liquid natural gas facility, and I just want the state to say that that bridge is going to handle an evacuation if there was a need.
Absolutely. We can get you the traffic information, kind of some of the background on.
So it'll handle an evacuation.
I am not saying that it will or won't. I don't
Because when
know
that bridge
that. I
was
can.
built, the population of Calvert County was probably about 25,000 people, and today, as Commissioner Hart says, it's 93,000 people.
Sure.
And that's a two-lane bridge. And
Not to mention the
we-
increase in population in St. Mary's.
we believe that, our federal partners would be willing to participate, but they tell us all the time that they can't even secure funding until the state at least puts it on the list, as Commissioner Hart has asked. So that's why we press so hard.
No, I understand.
Because it's a major transportation route on a daily basis, but in an emergency situation, it is our only way for half of this county may have to use. And it does concern us that little two-lane bridge is going to handle an evacuation. But the states, bears some responsibility, so if you say it's good, then it's good.
Can I
Okay, you're-
ask?
Okay, the inspection is going to take place in the next week. Am I correct?
It's ongoing. That's correct.
It's ongoing. How long will the inspection take?
I think
1 week.
about a week, right?
About a week. And once you have inspected the bridge, a complete report, I am assuming, will be filed that our citizens can take a look at and see what the findings were. And if that is in fact the case, which I'm sure it is, where can our citizens go to read that report?
So we are required every year to submit our inspection data to Federal Highway, and that's published statewide for all of the bridge data that's collected. That's publicly available information.
So Federal Highway's website, they should go there to find the
Correct.
report. Okay, it'll be finished in about a week. How long does it take for the report to be written and published on Federal Highway's website?
I'd have to get back to you. Each structure is different. That's a long
Okay.
bridge, obviously a lot of surface area to look at, so.
If you would, we would appreciate it, because the bridge is a tremendous concern to Calvert Countyans, and I think they deserve to know where they can find the results of the inspection. Thank you.
And did I hear you correctly that both bridges were getting inspected, the Hollowing Point Bridge also?
So we have a reoccurring inspection program for all of our assets. We didn't comment specifically, I'm sorry, could you say the structure again?
Hollowing Point,
231.
231 Bridge?
I'm sorry, I did, yeah. So I'm not sure the inspection date for that structure, but we, as part of our federal requirements, we're mandated to do biennial inspections of our structures. So if it's not ongoing in the near term, it will be in our normal cycle.
Okay. And one more question I had for, for you was the traffic lights in Prince Frederick. We, seem to, trying to get them in sync. The past month, we've seen backups on Sixes Road and Route 4. Now, I know we did resurfacing down there on Sixes Road, and I just don't know if it just seems like it's backing up rush hour from Sixes Road and then going back to Prince Frederick and then stacking up. So anything you can take a look at on that traffic light would.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So we'll look specifically at that issue. Is that a morning or an evening?
Evening time.
Evening issue. I do want to just speak a little bit about the traffic signals through the Calvert County area, the northern part of the county. As you mentioned in Prince Frederick, We also have taken a look up in the Dunkirk area, right? And so a lot of the complaints that we've gotten over the years, as all the traffic's coming back home in the evening, coming down Route 4 out of DC, and then hitting 2-4 and down through Prince Frederick. You'll remember Commissioner Ireland years ago, every rainstorm, and then the signals would get out of sync, right? And so in the past, those signals through Prince Frederick, they were coordinated in such a way that in the evening, we help everyone get southbound, in the morning, help everybody get northbound. But they were based off of like a master clock. So each of these signals were operating off of a clock. And frankly, after every rainstorm, the clocks would drift, and then they would be out of sync. So through the years, they've been physically now connected with what we call interconnect. And so the clocks don't drift anymore. So those things have been improved. Even more recently than that, they were upgraded to a newer technology for coordinating signals called Centrax. And that's just an ability for, you can imagine our signal shop and our signal technicians are all the way up near BWI Airport. So it gives them a better opportunity to sort of monitor it remotely with the Centrax system and see the health of the system and stuff. So we'll be able to check this pretty quick down at Sixes Road. We have a program now that we're getting ready to upgrade the two signals up in Dunkirk also to the Centrax system.
Okay.
So I just want you to understand that the signals have been coordinated for quite some time and then even physically interconnected. The Centrax is something that will be added to, and I apologize this morning, I'm still trying to get an update from our central office of a schedule for that. But they are going to add those two and get them on Centrax as well. I know what you all have asked about in the past and have given some information about another newer technology called adaptive signal control. And adaptive signal control, both of those areas, 7 signals in Prince Frederick and also the 2 up in Dunkirk, we found that there would be some benefit to upgrading them to adaptive signal control. Adaptive signal control, what I'll say is in the morning peak and in the evening peak, we're doing the best we can to pump as much traffic through the corridor. The adaptive signal control helps when Saturday and everyone's shopping. Now we've got traffic going in both directions. Or all of a sudden there's a special event or an accident and it changes what we know to be the preconceived traffic patterns. Then adaptive signal control can be a benefit there. So there is a nominal benefit that can occur in Prince Frederick if we can upgrade to adaptive signal control. Frankly, that benefit can be on a lot of systems across the state. So it's not in the near future to upgrade to adaptive signal control. Frankly, a lot of the signals would have to be completely rebuilt, and we found that it would be close to $2.5 million to upgrade those 7 plus the 2 in Dunkirk. So there's not an active schedule for that yet,
Okay.
but that's not really much of an improvement during the peak hour. You know what I mean? So we will take a look and see what's going on right now down at Sixes Road. Hopefully something that it's not operating as intended and we can fix it pretty quick. But they are coordinated. Prince Frederick has the Centrax. Dunkirk will be getting it, and adaptive signal control maybe sometime in the future, but it's not really going to help the commuters per se.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When Dunkirk is on the schedule, could you let us know?
Yeah, we will follow up as soon as we get the schedule.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Gentlemen, folks, I just have one last question. So obviously, constituents are always when, and I know you don't have that answer, but is there a process, and I'm sure there is, that where does it rank? Say, is there 12 projects ahead of it, 14? I mean, I would assume the consensus is, does Maryland believe it needs to be replaced? I mean, is there a consensus for that?
I'm sorry, we're back to
The Solomon's Bridge?
Yeah. So again, we're going to continue to monitor its condition, and I think obviously traffic is the other issue, and I definitely understand if you had to evacuate, So I think it's a combination of all those. But, we have, that has to be rolled into all the other requests, all the other needs across the state, and then you have to try to balance that as best we can. I mentioned that the Revenue Commission, one of the other areas they're looking at is revising or improving the prioritization process for the capital program. So they just recently had a review of what's been done, a number of states throughout the country. So that may also lead to that, where it'll be much more transparent of how these projects get prioritized. So I think you'll see more of that in the next cycle that we do of the program.
But does Maryland believe it needs to be replaced? I mean, I guess that would be the starting point.
Sometime in the future.
So
Yeah,
it does,
yeah,
so
yeah,
Maryland
because-
believes it needs to be replaced?
And I think it's, what happens here in terms of development. Obviously, again, what happens with the physical condition of the bridge, which obviously would impact timing. But at some point, bridges do get replaced or.
Sure, but I mean, at this juncture, I know you said safety-wise, it's fine, so I'm kind of looking for the trigger point. So if you said safety, it's fine, obviously, you're still in the investigation part of how much traffic flow and everything like that. I mean, we see it, we know, there's times you just don't go over the bridge. If you can help it, you don't go over certain times. But I guess just what is the trigger point to where it actually says, okay, this is a project that needs to happen? I mean, like the Harry Nice Bridge, there had to be a trigger point there to say, okay, this has to be replaced. What is that trigger point for Solomon's?
So when you look at large structures like Harry Nice Middleton Bridge, like Thomas Johnson, you look at it holistically from a life cycle cost analysis, and then the other factors like traffic that help you sort of give that cost benefit perspective to the overall structure. If you look at certain structures like, let's take Brooklyn Bridge or Golden Gate Bridge, those are monumental investments that almost are treated as though they have to live indefinitely. That the need to replace, it's always leaning towards let's invest in rehabilitation of an existing structure rather than replacement. And so that is driven by things like the cost magnitude to do a full replacement versus a rehabilitation. There's a lot of factors from a life cycle perspective that go into that. So the need is primarily driven by condition, but then you have to look at the financial viability of getting to that replacement structure. And so that's part of this whole process is how do we get there? Paul talked about the Revenue Commission. We've got to, this is a monumental effort to replace a bridge of this magnitude. And so that's why we're methodically funding the parts that we can to keep the project moving forward. But a financial plan would have to be developed in order to be able to implement and compare that against continued preservation activities.
So is the American Legion Bridge structurally failing?
The American Legion Bridge is projected to have the deck in poor condition within 10 years.
Because there was a MDOT representative on the news this morning said it's got to be replaced in the next 6 years. He didn't say why, but he just said that.
It's based on,
6 years.
it's based on the deck condition. And when you look at that structure.
So you're just going to replace the deck, you're not going to replace the bridge?
When we look at the life cycle costs on that structure, it makes more sense, because in order to maintain traffic during construction, you have to widen. Therefore, you're already building out. And so for that reason, we looked at the life cycle costs and have concluded that for that location, it makes sense to do a replacement.
And there also was a report in this story that there was a rumor it may end up a toll bridge. That's just a rumor.
I'm sorry, the American Legion Bridge?
American Legion.
Yeah, as you recall, that was to be a toll facility in effect when there was a P3 arrangement for that. That vendor decided to move on. So right now we're applying for large federal dollars, and we assume that there would be some sort of tolling in that right now to finance that.
So do you think the Solomon's Bridge, whenever it got replaced, may move to a tolled facility?
No, I think we'd have to have a discussion when we got to that point, That would be another thing that we'd want to, think about. I'm not saying it would or wouldn't, but I think it would be something that, well, as we look at a number of these bridges across the state, and the financial pressures to deliver everything that we're being asked to deliver, I think we should consider it. It doesn't mean that you would do it. I think that would be a local decision as much as a DOT decision for sure.
Well, that's not going to be a local decision.
No, I know, but we're going to take local input for sure. I mean, it's.
And I think in one of our prior discussions, I think the projection for replacement of the Thomas Johnson Bridge, including infrastructure, is $1 billion. Does that number ring a bell?
I would not go there with bridge numbers. My experience is they can.
Oh, so y'all haven't even done any kind of projection to replace the bridge or the road?
We've got my notes say interim Maryland 4 improvements, St. Mary's County as a full corridor improvement are estimated approximately 800 million, but that was based on the original study year estimate. You know, when you look at time value of money, we would have to get an update on that. A lot of inflation has happened since then, so.
Not only that, but even, what is it, right? You know, what height, all those things, because that changes how you approach it. So I think to put a number out there, I think doesn't do anyone good, because it's just such a, sky
It
estimate.
sort of does a little good, because we had discussions about the Harry Nice came in at 435.
463.
463, and when we asked, well, why is Thomas Johnson projected to be almost $1 billion, and we were told because of road improvements that have to occur on the St. Mary's side, that you just can't put a 4-lane bridge there and have those road conditions, so that, it's a 900, and by the time you all get around to it, it's gonna be over $1 billion, because it's not even on the list with inflation. And as you all probably know, we've been approached by a private corporation that would build a toll bridge and do it now to replace that bridge. That raises a lot of questions because we don't own the bridge. And so, not that we're entertaining that, but if we did, is that something the state would turn that bridge over to allow it to be replaced by a private entity?
I think we'd want to work with all of our stakeholders to determine if that is a good idea or not.
Because, as we've already talked about, you can't just replace the bridge if you don't fix the road issues, and this company just does bridges. So the other question is, so even if there was a plan to replace the bridge with a private partnership, is State Highway gonna fix the roads, upgrade the roads?
Again, I think we'd have to have a thorough discussion of that, because, our experience in the state with some of these public-private partnerships have led us down in different avenues that I think we ought to really think through before we commit to something like that.
And you have to understand our perspective. That bridge is handling what we hear is 3 or 4 times what it was designed for. A lot of our residents work in St. Mary's County. They commute over that bridge every day. If there's one minor incident, it backs up for hours.
Shuts it down.
Because there's no way to get around it. And that bridge, as soon as it was built, was shut down for repairs because they found failures in construction. So it's always in the back of our minds, that bridge was not good when it was brand new, and now it's 50 years old. And we hear all these stories of the oyster divers that if you went underwater and looked at that bridge, you would never drive on it, but you all tell us that they're not true, that it's perfectly fine under the water, so I guess we're gonna have to trust you in that regard. But, our citizens demand us to have this discussion.
Of course.
And, because, it's our responsibility to protect their safety just like yours. And so we have to keep pressing because they keep pressing. We don't believe that bridge has gotta be 150 feet tall or whatever it is. The Navy's not decommissioning ships anymore there. That's the reason it was so tall. But a lot of people don't understand the water's as deep under that bridge as that bridge is as tall above it. And that would really scare them if they all knew that, which they do now. But, because you ride around Point No Point with a depth finder and it just,
Every new boater
Yeah, but
sees
sorry.
the cracks underneath there, runs into my store and says, "Oh my God, it's fallen down," because they saw cracks. I've been seeing cracks there since I was 8 years old. So it's concrete, so to Commissioner Hans's point, it's a subject that never dies.
Sure. But let me again, just reinforce, if that bridge was unsafe, I would shut it down in a minute, okay? And we have a track record of that. I personally have a track record of that at the Metro, when I ran the Metro. If it isn't safe, we don't run it. So,
understood. We just have to have this.
no, I
discussion.
understand.
I want to change gears a little bit. What's the Highway Safety Office doing to address the spike in fatalities?
Yes, Chrissy.
And I guess, and part of that, our traffic enforcement numbers seem to be up or down throughout the state.
It's mixed, to be frank, but I'll let Chrissy, that isn't her.
That's okay. Is it all right for me to stand here?
Absolutely.
Good, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So, as I said, we're really trying to draw public attention to it, so we've started doing monthly press releases of the fatalities that are happening. I think sometimes people just get in such a routine of getting behind the wheel, they don't stop and think about it. So right now, we're trying to essentially get it in front of everybody as frequently as we can to have a conversation about it. We recognize there's not one answer. As I said, it's speed, it's impairment, it's not buckling up, and it is distraction. And so each of those requires different solutions. We're certainly working with our law enforcement partners. It was great to see your support for law enforcement here with the ceremony earlier. But they have constraints too, right? They're having staffing issues, it's difficult to hire. And normally our money goes to overtime, not standard, the enforcement they do during their regular shifts, but the shifts they do extra and above. And so, we're asking a lot of our law enforcement officers to do that, and so we are looking at other ways to get the message out, working with nonprofit organizations, working with local health organizations, really trying to be creative about bringing new partners to the table. Post-COVID, the challenge looks different than it looked before. Speed went up during COVID, there weren't many cars on the road, and people felt safe speeding like that. I'm not saying it was safe, but people felt safe. Unfortunately, with the vehicles back on the road, they've continued to stay at that high rate of speed. And so obviously when crashes are occurring, you're having more fatalities. We've had a high number of multiple fatalities when we have crashes at this point, which is obviously incredibly tragic. So we are looking at what other states are doing. We're trying to be creative. With like the holiday weekend coming up, we've got credits for Lyft that you can, get a free ride home so that you don't have to drive impaired. There are other options. Trying to use every avenue we can, but we're happy to work with you here at the local level. As I said, a lot of local jurisdictions have their own strategic highway safety plans where you bring your partners together at the local level and have these conversations, these very honest and frank conversations. I think that's the only way you ultimately get there. But I'm happy to come back, and if there's, the right people for us to connect with and start that dialogue even more.
Okay, thank you.
So while you're up,
Yes, sir.
we love having our office, MVA office here in Prince Rotary. Staff is always very nice. The appointment system is great because, like you say, you don't wait. You have an appointment, you go in, you get taken care of. The only critique I'll have is when you go in there to sign up to make an appointment, you have very limited options of what you're going there for. So sometimes I have to pick an option that is absolutely not related to why I'm going there, but it's the only way I can get an appointment.
Yeah.
Like, I have a vehicle, I have to in-person do tag renewals. You can't do tag renewals. There's no option for tag renewals. And if you do new registration, then they want you to fill out all the pre-information, so when you get there, it speeds up. So if there was an option for other, and you could fill in why you're actually coming, like tag turn-in, you can't.
So you don't need an appointment to turn in your tags, that's the good news. So you
Oh, the
just
guy
walk
always
in.
asks you when you walk in the door if you have an appointment. When you go
Yeah,
through
but if you're
security.
turning in tags, you're fine. You're good. You don't need an appointment. That's at any branch statewide. That's just the
But
procedure.
maybe if there was another, and you could just write
Yeah,
in
so
why you're
we've,
going.
and I appreciate the feedback. It's something we've looked at a lot. I know we've added some new appointment types like handicap placards. For registration renewals, 97% of them are done outside a branch office because you can do them by web, by kiosk, by mail, all those things. Now, certain
I'm part of the
situations,
3%.
certain situations you need to do them in person. And that's why we don't put it on there as an option, because we worry that the rest of the 90%.
People would just start coming.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely with that kind of easy transaction, we encourage it to be done so that we can better serve the other customers.
I just tell them I'm coming in for something else.
But no, I love the feedback in terms of what things are called, because sometimes, like for instance, we just changed what we call driver skill tests, behind the wheel tests, because now people are confused about it, right? So we change language all the time to try to make sure we're communicating and not using jargon or terms that people don't know. So thank
We
you.
really do appreciate having the office here. But
Thank you. It's a good
very
tip.
helpful.
Thank you.
So, the other issue I want to talk about is buses, commuter buses. I don't know whose department that is, but I know that ridership is way down for the commuter buses that travel through Southern Maryland, and they're very important to our people in Calvert that especially work in DC. But just worried about the future of those commuter buses because ridership is so low. Is there any?
Yeah, no, that is an issue. I mean, transit in general is down across the board, particularly in the Washington region. The rail is down. It's about 50% of where it was. Bus has basically almost, I mean, it's in the 85% last time I looked. Commuter bus, though, is way down, to be frank. And it's, I think until The federal government makes a little bit stronger determination of when people have to come in, how often. That probably isn't going to change much. So at some point, obviously, we have to look at, where's the best spend for all the dollars. So that's a challenge for us, to be frank, right now. We're all sort of, is this the new normal? Are things going to change? But we're unique here with the commuters that have to Washington. And that's it's just a different one that we don't see in other places in the country. So I know there's been efforts for them to get people in the buildings. I know obviously the city's very concerned about the real estate market, the commercial real estate market. So we need to let that play out a little bit longer. But at some point, we're going to have to take a hard look at a number of things, in that arena, just because the numbers are the numbers. And if that is our new normal, that's our new normal. We'll have to adjust to that.
Just, you want to make sure that issue stays
Yeah,
on
I
the
understand.
radar, because it is so important to our citizens. Not have to fight the traffic and parking in DC,
Yeah.
but I know ridership is really not good, so hopefully that will improve. Guardrails. It appears that MDOT is in love with guardrails, and I'm sure there's studies out there that say they save lives. I feel like I'm driving bumper cars because, you can't hardly get off the road anymore. The only concern I want to raise to you is I farm. I move big equipment up and down these roads. The new guardrails that you are starting appear to be moving closer to the surface, road surface, and they appear to be taller. So I can't get off the road to allow traffic to flow as easy as I could, and then my new neighbors don't like me as much. So I'm sure there's a safety study that says they got to be taller and closer to the road, but in rural communities, I would hope that you would keep us in mind that have to move equipment up and down these roads to give us an opportunity to stay out of the travel lanes as much as we can. And,
Big picture nationally, there was an update a few years back to what's called MASH compliant traffic barriers. There were some design changes from that. I candidly am not an expert on if it moved a little bit closer and how much taller and all that, but there were changes to the design, and it is, that was based on a lot of crash testing that showed that the older design didn't prevent fatalities as well. So,
And the changing of the fleet, right, with the SUVs, I'm sure.
because they just did, you all just did South County, from like Prince Reg to Solomons, and they definitely moved them closer. You could tell where the old ones were. And we've raised the issue with 264 for how it's taller now and it's hard to see through the intersection. Because now the guardrail runs all the way to the blacktop of the crossover. Used to be it stopped, like, But I'm sure there's a safety study that says that saves lives, but it creates other concerns that we need to get used to. I'm aware. But just in rural communities, I'm sure in the Eastern Shore, you'll hear the same thing. Those guardrails create some issues for us, and we're trying to be as safe as we can too.
Well, let's monitor the one if it's a site issue, though.
Yes, and so thank you. You brought that up, I think, at Mako. We're in the process of looking at that traffic signal, the northbound left, where you can, yield on the flashing red. But now that that guardrail is taller and in the median, it's obstructing the sight distance. So we do have a request into our central office to change that so that they're only turning left when there's a green arrow.
Yeah, I knew that was going to
And
happen.
so, right, that's, we try, try not to delay everyone when we can't, when we don't have to, but there is a sight distance restriction, as you noted. And so that change will be coming.
And there's no police officers in here right now, but when I make that turn of Rooms on Road and I'm on it, my equipment, I'll run a red light sometimes because there's nothing coming and there's nobody sitting it. Because I take up all of 264 when I turn left. So if there's nobody there and that light's red, I'm going because it's
In
the
all
best
fairness
option.
to Commissioner Hance, we didn't used to have traffic lights. When I was a kid, we had 2, so it's a new concept. It's,
It's not that new.
If I could just give a quick update, Commissioner Grasso, the schedule, so just hot off the press, for the 2 signals up in Dunkirk to be connected to that Centrac system. They, like I said, they had been working on it. They're telling me that that'll be connected by the end of the year.
Thank you.
So by the end of December, that'll be up and
Thank
running.
you.
So my staff is on the ball. They said that the Thomas Johnson Bridge, when it was constructed, was expected to carry 1,400 vehicles a day. In 2017, a survey said that there were 30,000 vehicles a day going across that bridge. I was wrong. It's not threefold, it's 30-fold going across that bridge every day.
And in addition, it was shut down an hour ago currently due to an accident.
Just to reinforce why we talk about it
course.
all the time, and I'm sure you get tired of hearing it. But, yeah, from 1,400 to 30,000. And today, they estimate it's probably over 33,000 a day going across that little two-lane bridge. So that's why we keep talking
Of
about it.
course.
I think that-
How about a timeline on the 231 projects? So we have 25 and 26. What's the timeline span on them 3 projects?
So that's the timeline for it to reach the ability to advertise the project.
Okay.
So in design, the one project should be done by the end of '25,
Okay.
meaning that it's ready to advertise.
Okay.
And then the other 2 would be ready to advertise in '26.
26.
So, you know, need right-of-way, need utility, need construction funding, but the design schedule is
Okay.
such. Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, because they've been doing bore testing all summer. Looks like they may have finished that. I haven't seen them lately, but, so, we figured it was going to be a while. We hope that funding doesn't go away, because those 3 projects are very important to 231. They're more safety than guardrails. To get those turn lanes in there would be very helpful. And we do appreciate that. And we appreciate you working on the signals, trying to get those as updated as you can. And we really thank you for your time here today. And, you know, our meeting in Mako was always very informative and helpful. And we appreciate every opportunity to communicate our issues.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Hey, Kim.
This is,
So next item on the agenda is an award for the Employee Recognition Committee 2023 October Employee of the Month. Morning, Tori.
Good morning, Commissioner Hans. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. How is everybody else doing today? I see we lost a commissioner.
Wonderful.
Should we wait?
She'll be back.
Okay.
I love having Tori here.
Well, thank you. I love having you around as well.
Thank you.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder
Thank
Woman.
you. Thank you.
Oh, you're not.
No, I'm wonderful. Yes. Superman is here today, over there. Should I get started?
please. Sure.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tori Boschert. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Recreation Coordinator for the Central District of Calvert County Parks and Recreation, and today I'm here as a member of the Employee Recognition Committee. It is my privilege to introduce Calvert County Government's Employee of the Month for October 2023. However, before I introduce our award winner, here's a quick reminder of what we look for in an Employee of the Month. This award acknowledges individual excellence for superior job performance or special individual efforts that go above and beyond the employee's normal job duties. Some of the suggested criteria are effectiveness of public contact, respect of fellow employees, quality and/or quantity of work, contributions toward improving organizational morale, and actions that improve our public image. Anyone can nominate a coworker for this award. Simply have it signed by the employee's supervisors and the department head. Please check out our ERC webpage on the county intranet page for more information. We encourage all employees to be on the lookout for a worthy recipient. Now, without further ado, and with immense pride, I present to you our October 2023 Employee of the Month. Taylor Morton, Sports Assistant Coordinator for Calvert County Parks and Recreation, and my best friend. Taylor, please come up. Recently, during our sports, community, and well-being office's busiest period of the year, We will call that the sports office from here on out. Taylor stepped up while our sports coordinator had to take off due to an unforeseen situation and coordinated our youth soccer team drafts and completed our youth soccer schedule without any assistance in less than a week. This accomplishment alone is worthy of Taylor being recognized as Calvert County Government's Employee of the Month. But during this period, she also ensured all youth sports providers and private organizations' field requests were filled, as well as the same time ensuring the co-rec softball league, youth field hockey league, pickleball leagues, cheerleading, and special events were scheduled, and all the associated correspondence and equipment were issued to the appropriate people. Our sports office annually generates over 25,000 field and court reservations to our citizens. For two people to accomplish this is impressive. Taylor's ability to continue to meet all of our customers' needs in the absence of a sports coordinator is truly extraordinary. In addition to generating field and court reservations, the sports office manages over 500 volunteer coaches annually for soccer, field hockey, basketball, youth kickball, and sports camps. Each volunteer receives the tools to successfully teach the sport they are volunteering for to the children on their team. We strive to make the volunteer experience with Parks and Recreation enjoyable and easy to understand. Taylor routinely spends extra time with new volunteers to ensure they are comfortable with what they are doing, and she makes herself available to answer any questions they may have, even if it's during our own soccer practice. In addition to providing training and instruction to our volunteers, Taylor also ensures each volunteer has a completed background check on file and sideline passes are issued to all approved coaches and other volunteers. In addition to her contributions to the sports office, Taylor also serves on the Maryland Recreation and Parks Association Leadership Institute Committee. The MRPA Leadership Institute is an annual 9-month program offered through MRPA to emerging leaders in the Parks and Recreation field. CCPR nominated Taylor for participation in the 2022-2023 class. Just as she does on a daily basis during her regular duties, Taylor embraced the opportunity and excelled during the program. Upon completion, Taylor was asked to be a part of the Leadership Institute Committee for the 2023-2024 class. Typically, most committee members have been in the Parks and Recreation field for many years prior to being asked to participate on a committee like this. However, Taylor is not your typical young professional. She strives for perfection consistently and always looks for ways to improve our processes and our programs. Leadership comes naturally to her, and she strives to seek any knowledge that will improve her job performance. Taylor's performance as a young professional is rare to find. She's the definition of the ultimate team player. She routinely participates and assists in other areas of need within the department outside of sports. There is nothing that she will not do to make sure we accomplish our goals of providing a safe and inclusive environment for all of our participants. Taylor has earned the respect of many people, both internally and externally, by giving 100% to every situation she's presented with. In everything Taylor does, she approaches it with a level of enthusiasm and effort that is not seen every day. She makes others around her better, and the sky is the limit for her professionally. Nate Smith, who submitted the nomination, said, "I'm proud to give Taylor my highest recommendation for the award of Calvert County Government's Employee of the Month." The ERC is delighted to be a part of this recognition, and we applaud this extraordinary coworker, Taylor, for helping to highlight what we all know, that Calvert County is the greatest place to live and work. Thank you, Taylor, for all you do, and thank you, commissioners, for your continued support of the Employee Recognition Committee. And before I let anybody else up here to speak, I wanted to say just how proud I am of you and how lucky I am to call you my best friend. You're always there as my hype woman, and you're always there as a shoulder to cry on. I'm sorry. I had to write this down because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. She's someone I'm so thankful to have come into my life, and I hope that everyone is fortunate enough to forge a bond with someone like Taylor and I have forged with each other. So congratulations. And there are a few people that would like to speak. I do believe Nate Smith, Mark Lindberg, and our director, Shannon Nazal, would like to come up and speak. And if there's anybody else after that, they are welcome. And then Taylor would have a chance to speak as well. I know she has something prepared. So thank you all.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Lindberg, current sports
morning.
coordinator. I've had the privilege about 2 years ago coming to the sports office, work with Taylor. We can sit here and sing her praises all day long until the moon comes up. But I'm not going to do that in the interest of time. I can sit here and say that Taylor is not only a true professional, but she's just a good person. Okay? I have the privilege of actually working behind doors with her, so I don't want to go into the stuff we talk about in the office, but we have a good time, we get everything done. Her dedication to service is commendable, and a future rising star in the field of Parks and Recreation.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners, staff.
Good morning.
Y'all know sports is my bread and butter. I've got a high level for our service, and this young lady, I think I met my match here. I can tell you, the passion she brings every day. Taylor grew up here in Calvert County. She started in the Parks and Rec program. You know, she stands for everything that's right about sports. You know, we teach teamwork, you know, being a good sport. You know, just all the life lessons, sports translates to work. She brings it to us. I can't tell you how awesome it is to have someone like this. And I know I can kind of step away from that, work on other things. I still got my eye on them. But I'll tell you what, these guys are just amazing. They set the tone for all of the sports in Calvert County. You know, we do the best practice and standards. They share it with everyone. Calvert's a good place to live, and a lot of it's because of what they do. So as her supervisor, I am so proud. Thank you, Commissioners, for your support of us. Taylor, very proud of you. Parks and Recreation is very proud.
Shannon Nazal, Director of Parks and Recreation. A lot has already been said, and I could talk for a very long time about Taylor and the great things that she does for the department, but I'll try to keep it as short as I'm physically capable of doing. And Taylor is a wonderful member of our team. She has really excelled in everything that she has put forth in trying to do. She's taking on leadership roles within the field, which is a wonderful thing to do. She, her and Taylor, they're, two peas in the pod, they're TNT, so they're just, very out there, so you can see their firecrackers, and they just bring a world of life into Parks and Recreation. And ultimately, I'm very proud of you, Taylor. Great job, and keep doing awesome things.
I'm tall. Let me put this up. Wow, thank you guys so much. That was incredible. I'm so overwhelmed right now. What better way to receive this award than from my loyal best friend, Tori Boschert. Tori, I'm grateful to call you my best friend. You have brought so much positivity in my life. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I want to say I'm incredibly humbled and so grateful for this award. I first want to say thank you to my family. Big shout out to my two sisters, Kara and Krista, who are always and have been my biggest supporters. A special thank you to my mom and dad, who have put up with my outgoing loud self for 29 years. I know I'm a lot to handle. You have always supported me and believed in my abilities when I doubted myself. You two have shaped me into the hardworking, ambitious, open-minded person I am today. I also want to say thank you to Shannon and the whole Department of Parks and Recreation. I would not be standing up here today without your support. I enjoy coming to work every day and learning from professionals like you. Here at Parks and Recreation, we support one another, and I felt that from day one on July 2nd, 2018, when I started with the county. The first person that made me feel that way was Deputy Director Bob Branham. Bob knows I tend to question my intelligence at times, but he never did. So thank you for always putting up with all my questions. I know I ask a lot, and believing in me and knowing I'm smart enough to accomplish any task. I want to say thank you to my sports office team, my supervisor Mark Lindberg, and team members Edwin Rohn and Douglas Chance. You guys have to work 5 days out of the week for 7 hours with me, so really, I should be praising you guys. Working in the sports office is not easy, but our teamwork together is why we get the job done. The last person I would like to thank is the person who nominated me for this award, my division chief, Nate Smith. Roll Tide. I like to say, I have always had a good work ethic, but you have taught me to go above and beyond and to serve this community. My confidence is where it's at because of your positive words and how much you trust and value in me. I aspire to keep pushing myself every day to be the best I can be, to be a role model for this community, and support my Parks and Recreation team throughout our journeys here in Calvert County. Thank you again, Commissioners.
Come on down. Come on down, folks. Anybody wants to come on down?
That's my mom, dad, sister.
You guys want to come on down?
Yeah, come up for the picture. Come up for the picture.
Come on. Come on. So, you know, Commissioner Hans came to me earlier in the week and he says, I got a tall task for you. You got to come behind Tori. So I took a few notes here, and I just a couple notes to write this down because, I don't like to be outdone. But he said today, Mike, for time, you're just going to have to cut it short. But, hearing those words from Nate, I got to tell you, when I first came on, you talk about respect and out there, they all loved him. And that, dealing with the public, not everybody loves everybody. They all love Nate. Hearing that from him, about you, just really speaks volumes, and from all the nice testimonials, and we want to thank you very much for everything, because it's not easy. Volunteers are giving up their time. They've worked all day long, and the fight for fields, and it rains, and all the stuff that goes with it. So we want to thank you very much, and we want to present you with this.
Thank you.
And as Commissioner Nutter always said, more important than that, the check.
Thanks.
Thank you. Do you want me to get in the picture?
How's my hair look? That's good. Everybody blink, quick. There you go.
I'm not a good photo taker, so don't get mad at me later today.
I'll just say, let's go Mountaineers and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Not going anywhere.
I think Mark's going to set us up for a debate one night.
I know.
For charity.
Yes.
Mark will MC, and we'll never get home.
I know. We won't even get to debate if he MCs.
Don't give him anything. Bouncing off the walls. Next item on the agenda is consent. We have 3 items under consent today. Item 1, Department of Community Resources, fiscal year 2024 operating grant agreement. Item 2, Department of Community Resources, memorandum of understanding for the 85 Main Street project. Item 3, Department of Public Works, budget amendment for Hall Aquatic Center flat roof replacement. Are there any objections to the items presented under consent today?
No, sir.
None.
Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. That brings us to public comment. Mr. County Attorney?
Thank you, sir. The Board has adopted a resolution in 1989 intending to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. A copy is found here to my right. Then by Resolution 51-20, persons are welcome to address the Board of County Commissioners on any matter germane to the business of county government. Persons addressing the board shall refrain from statements, remarks, or conduct that is uncivil, rude, vulgar, profane, or otherwise disruptive to the conduct of the board's business. All speakers are asked to identify themselves, and whether speaking as an individual, where you be allocated 2 minutes, or as the appointed representative of a group, where you be allocated 5. For those attending virtually, we don't have any. The Ethics Commission has asked that we remind speakers at public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier. I'm speaking on behalf of myself today. We did it. We made it to the first quarter of the school year is done. So congratulations to the students and the staff for that. I want to thank Commissioner Hance and Commissioner Grasso and Board of Ed member Ms. Grennis for coming out to the Veterans Day ceremony last week. It was really great, and we were able to involve the JROTC, the NNDCC, the National Naval Defense Cadet Corps, the Civil Air Patrol kids, the Young Marines, anything we can do at the county level to get these kids involved and interested. And it's not that, these groups are just clubs or something to do. It's giving these kids leadership and experience and brings them back into the county to do great things. So please support them any way you can. The Board of Ed has put out their 2 proposed calendars for the 24-25 year and the 25-26 year, and it's up for public comment, so please take a look at that. The only big difference is starting earlier or getting out later, so it is what it is. As we continue to talk about staffing and budgets, I know that my children would not have been successful this first quarter without not just their homeroom teachers, but all the teachers they see throughout the day, the administrators, the front office staff, the building service workers who keep them clean, the food service people who feed them every day. It takes a village, and the public school system staff are the ones that do it, so please support them as we discuss the continued staffing plans and the budget coming up. Union strong, I'll say it again, union strong. Commissioners, we just appreciate your support at all levels. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Cox.
I was not here last week, so I just want to welcome Mrs. Linda Turner to her new position as Assistant County Administrator, so welcome. As you stated earlier, there's 2 families I'd like to keep in your prayers this week, the Harris family and the Sturdivant family for passing of family members. And I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and has some quality time with their families. Thank you.
Commissioner Arlen.
On the 9th, I attended the Optimist Club Youth Appreciation Dinner. It was held at the fairgrounds. It was a follow-up from the proclamation we did last Tuesday for that. The Optimist Club recognized 10 high school students from each high school in the county. It was a nice event. Spent the weekend in Easton at the Waterfowl Festival. Beautiful weather, a lot of people, a lot of great vendors. Commissioner Grasso, Allie was there. She had her trailer and her setup, and she did very well there.
Allie's the best, support local.
I actually ran into a lot of people from Calvert County there. It was, like I said, it's just a great event. They couldn't ask for better weather, and it's the most people I'd ever seen there. So that's all I have.
Good. Commissioner Grasso.
On the 11th, I attended the Veterans Day celebration in Prince Frederick, and as Mr. Cormier indicated, we had a lot of young people there, and 4 of them spoke, 2 females, 2 males. Oh my gosh, if this is the state of our future, we are in great hands. They did a beautiful job. Later that day, I was in Chesapeake Beach for their Veterans Day celebration. After that, we went to Stallings 206 in Chesapeake Beach for a reception, and that was very well attended. I was glad to see that. It was really a nice turnout, nice camaraderie. On the 23rd, Jefferson Patterson Park is going to have a 5K turkey trot race. I did the Neon Nights, and I'm going to be participating in that, not running, not walking, handing out medals. And but it's a really great family and community event. Also, I'd like to wish all of you a blessed Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank the veterans and their families once again. Without them, we would not be here today. And as with Thanksgiving coming, once again, we've seen a lot of passing this year. Life is short, it's quick. Please take time to sit with the family and really give thanks for what's really important, family and friends and everything. And with that, that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. So as was mentioned, I attended the Veterans Day ceremony here at the courthouse on Saturday, and you all hear me talk all the time about getting your youth involved in organizations such as Scouts and 4-H, and I always forget the ROTCs or whatever the acronyms are for all those different groups. But as Commissioner Grasso mentioned, I don't know what their titles are, but the leaders of those high school organizations all spoke at that ceremony, and they were quite impressive. And, you know, you watch the news, you hear about all the bad things our youth are doing today, and we hear so many bad things that in this job, at least we get to attend events where we get to see the good part. That doesn't get talked about on the news and you don't hear a lot about. But those young people there Saturday, that was very rewarding to get to hear, especially that one young lady. And, you know, they all come from service families, and this country is getting away from service. We were told that day that recruitment is at an all-time low since our military services have been all volunteer, and it's important that we have a military. We couldn't enjoy the freedoms that we have today if it weren't for our militaries. And those young people already pretty much committed their lives to service, and we wish them a great future. And the speaker that day was Mayor Benton from North Beach, who's an ex-Marine, you know. Former, sorry.
Once a
former,
Marine, always a Marine.
Sorry, I messed that up. But, yeah. I have to pay homage to the statue now. But Mayor Benton did a great job talking about, you know, how the service enhanced his life and set him on a path to get him where he is today. So we can't say enough about our veterans and what they've done for us and still do for us today. Just want to remind everybody the joint public hearing tomorrow night at Harriet Brown Center starts at 7 o'clock to hear zoning ordinance updates, text amendments. And just a reminder, the Christmas parade is December the 9th. You have to sign up through the Optimist Club of Calvert.org by November 30th, or you can do it in person at the fairgrounds on December the 2nd. We're looking forward to a great Christmas parade. And as everyone else has already said, I want to wish everybody a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving. Mr. Vice President, have a
Yes,
motion
sir.
for me?
I move to recess to executive session pursuant to general provisions, Article Sections 3-305B, 1I, to discuss the appointment, employment, and such matters with employees over with whom the board has jurisdiction, as is allowed by law, and 3-305B7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice.
Have a motion and a second that we go into exec session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a great day.